studio in Astana, and today I'm joined by Iskander Akalbay, foreign policy analyst. We will discuss current state and perspective of bilateral relations between Kazakhstan and Congo. Iskander, thank you for joining us, and let me remind you that the President of the Republic of Congo has arrived to Astana yesterday evening. He was greeted and met by the Deputy Prime Minister Serik Jumangarli. Now we can see that President of Congo is reaching the residence of President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, in Astana. Let me remind you that this is the first visit of leader of African Republic to Kazakhstan, and the invitation was initiated by President Tokayev on the sidelines of COP28 climate conference in Dubai. Now we can see that the traditional ceremony in Akorda residence has just started, and we can see that President Tokayev and President Ngesa are having the the meeting point, and now the President of Congo is meeting with the Cabinet Minister of Kazakhstan, if I'm not mistaken, and I can see it rightly. And experts say that during the official visit of President of Congo, the counterparts will discuss the agreements in transport and logistics sector as well as in trade, because now we have the 14.7 thousand US dollars of trade turnover between Kazakhstan and Congo. And now we can say again the two leaders are walking inside of the residence of Akorda. Iskander, what would you say on this ceremony?
Well, I think it's very much historic visit of the President of Congo, and I think there's a great potential to explore very much new avenues for cooperation in different sectors, not just main economic drivers such as certainly oil sector, but certainly Congo is one of those countries that can be called as a lungs of Africa, where 80% of the territory is comprised of forest. And at the same time, I think during the events at the sidelines, that was very much important.
We have now witnessed the ceremonial part of the greeting of President of Republic of Congo to Kazakhstan in the residence of President Tokayev, and diplomatic relations between two countries were established in 1999 and 2016 on the sidelines of the African Union Summit. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kazakhstan, Yerzhana Shukbayev, held a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Congo, Jean-Claude Gakoso, and moreover in December 1st and 2nd, 2023, on the sidelines of the COP28 climate conference in Dubai. The first meeting between the presidents of Kazakhstan and Congo took place, during which President of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, invited President of Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso, to visit Kazakhstan on an official visit. And now we have witnessed that this meeting has finally started, and the President of Congo will be having an official visit during 2 days, today and tomorrow. Iskander, what would you say on this visit? What importance does it play? And what parties are going to discuss during it, please?
Well, as I previously mentioned, I think this is a very much historic visit because we are in the beginning, maybe, of our relations with the African Union or Africa as a geographical location, because when we're talking about Africa, it's 54 countries, and Congo is one of those important places. It's number 3 producers of oil and
in Africa,
and
yes.
Certainly we are very much has a strategic cooperation with an interest to work on that regard. At the same time, as I mentioned, the forestry, agricultural sector, food sector is one of those very much important directions that we can work together. And Kazakhstan is also agricultural, has agricultural interest and capacity to provide our services to Africa in general sense and Congo in particular. So,
but at the same time, now we have the trade turnover, which amounts $14.7 thousand US, which do not correspond to the possibilities that countries can reach. And as you mentioned, Congo is one of the, third oil producer in Africa. So does it mean that the countries perhaps will sign a memorandum of understanding in energy sector, as well as perhaps transport and logistics, since we do not have that much contacts because of this?
I think you're right, specifically in that we need to make first and maybe baby steps in this regard, and we need to work on many other issues like climate. Our special advisor to the president has visited Congo as well and met with the Congolese representatives on that regard. And certainly we are able to work on the transport and transit roads because Congo has very much important ports that we can utilize and work in mutual benefits. Certainly IT sector can be one of those areas that we can actually provide services from our side, and that will be very much important to explore not just Congo, but overall Africa as a direction, because according to the UN data, by 2050 we will have 25% of population living in Africa, almost 2.5 billion people. So it's a big market, but we need to certainly start from something, and we expect that 2 other presidents and heads of states of Africa from Africa will visit Kazakhstan by the end of this year.
So what does this visit actually play? What does it mean for Central Asia and Central Africa? This is, as we mentioned, the first case when the president of Congo is visiting Kazakhstan, and perhaps some of our representatives will go there too. This is the first case.
Well,
so what does this mean?
I think it's one of those cases where we are starting to learn about each other, because if you look at the trade turnover and economic relations, we do not know much about each other. But I think this is maybe a starting point about bigger story, because if we're talking about Central Africa in general sense as a geographical location, I think there is a great potential for cooperation in sphere of mining, because you see the neighboring countries of Congo is Cameroon, Gabon, etc. So they're very much important in the African Union. And speaking specifically about African Union, is one of those countries political bodies that actually support our candidacy for to be a non-permanent member at the United Nations Security Council 2017 and 18. So, and African Union is a member of G20, and certainly Kazakhstan is an observer state at the African Union. And so in this regard, I think it's very much important to learn that from the African Union experience and the Congo itself, how 54 countries can cooperate, and looking at the Central Asia as a regional body and or the future regional kind of platform, we are able to kind of start from baby steps in exploring different avenues for cooperation in economy, human capital, energy security, food security, and that's how we can move forward.
Some experts say that this meeting can influence on creating constructional legal framework between the two countries, because since 1999, when the diplomatic relations were established, we do not have it yet. So do you think the parties will focus on this area too?
I think we must actually focus on the kind of solid legal background that in order to move forward. Certainly it creates a understandable ground for cooperation, and to make sure that all necessary stakeholders in the business sector or government sector understand where they're moving forward. I think this is a very much important background that we have to accomplish.
And you are widely cited expert, let's say, in foreign policy of Kazakhstan. What place does Congo take in foreign policy of Kazakhstan in particular? Not only Congo, but in general Central Africa, perhaps.
Well, Central Africa is a very much important region that, if you look at the geopolitical scene or kind of global affairs scene, is that it's an area that is very much strategic in the sense that it's a kind of a cradle or one of those centers that is very much rich for minerals, raw minerals that are critical for developing chips, microchips, batteries, like the area where it's a lot of producers, companies extract cobalt and other raw materials that are very much instrumental for kind of global IT or global digital economy in general sense. And this is where there is a big competition from different players, and certainly instability, one of those in those areas can be very much play negative effect on global economy. And that's why paying attention to Central Africa, to the neighborhood countries of Congo, is very much important, and creating a constructive and predictable relations with those countries and all stakeholders is very much important, in the sense that we are now living in very much digital reality, where microchips and batteries and other equipments are critical, and Central African countries are one of the main producers for that.
So how do you envision the development of bilateral relations between Kazakhstan and Congo in coming years?
I think it's a good start in general sense, and we see a consecutive meetings during the sidelines of COP28, and then the special representative of President of Congo arrived
to Astana
in June. And now we have in August we have another main visit of the President of Congo. So in this respect, I think we see a consecutive dimension that we are very much have a vested interest to create a pragmatic and practical relations with Congo. And overall, if we're expecting 2 other presidents to come and visit Astana, we see that Africa is becoming a very much reliable and very much important direction for Kazakhstan or overall Central Asia. And that's why we actually can explore new markets for our products. We need to explore new avenues and new platforms. That's why we actually can boost our own local economy. We can attract the investors from Africa to Central Asia, to Kazakhstan, and export our products to Africa in general sense.
Yes, we have a big perspective in this regard, I think. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us. We were broadcasting live from Astana, and I was joined by foreign policy analyst Iskander Akalbayev to comment on the first day of official visit of President of Republic of Congo to Kazakhstan. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching us.